Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. And yes, what a beautiful day. And Starlight is out on this beautiful hiking trail out here. And I came out here yesterday and Starlight didn't get very far because there was a beautiful little picnic table out here. And Starlight's like, wow, I gotta just stop here and read my Bible out here. It's so beautiful, and a lot of people come out here to take their dogs or even go out here by themselves or ride their bikes or whatever. And so today, God's putting a lot on my heart today, and if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight by leaving Starlight a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family, your friends, your pets, like a dog. And I seen a black and white cat yesterday, so yes, a cat. And also, I want to say a big, huge thank you to all of you for loving and supporting Starlight on her YouTube channel. And I do notice things, believe me. I want to say a big huge thank you to all of you who watch my videos, who give me a thumbs up, who subscribe to my YouTube channel, and all of you who actually leave me a message down below, beep, down below, and all of you who share my videos. Thank you so much for being here, loving and supporting me. And we cannot do this, I cannot do this by myself. We need each other. So thank you for all of you who, someone's out there giving Starlight a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you for you. I really appreciate you taking that little bit of time and effort just to give me a thumbs up. And that means a lot from me, and also anybody that leaves any, the people that go the extra mile to leave a comment or even share my videos. Thank you so much. Or subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you. And so also, if you have any pets that you would like to share on my YouTube channel, is that you can, like a cat, a dog, and not your husband or wife or your children, not those kind of pets. But if you got any furry friends or, a snake or a turtle or anything like that, you can do that, and you can send that on my Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So today, as you see, my shirt says always choose love, and I wore this especially for this video. And I have my little peace earrings, which earlier I had hearts, but God decided to change, and put peace, because that's what I'm all about, is peace in the world. So today is the topic today is about not to hold back. And I got these birds out here talking right along. They want to be a part of this YouTube channel, and that's absolutely 100% okay, because I love animals. So today is about not holding back, and that is what we're going to talk about today, is not to hold back. There's a lot going on in the world, and I tell you, Starlight's not into politics, but we're going to talk a little bit about politics today, and it's about Charles Kerks. Guess what? I didn't know the man until I found out about him yesterday a little bit, and today, because my mentor made an amazing message about what is going on with the politics as far as Charles Kerks. And if you want to find out more of a deeper depth of that, you can check out his YouTube channel, and that's Infinite Waters Ralph Smart, and you'd be amazed at the things that you're going to learn on there, or maybe things that you already know and understand. But for those of you that might need some more clarity on what's really going on and why things are, what we're dealing with, you really need to check that out. And anyway, so like I was saying, I don't even know the man that just passed away, and my heart goes out to all of his family and friends, and all his followers, the people that have been following him and supporting him, and the ones that actually witnessed his death, live, and that's a really tragedy for families to witness that, and besides his loved ones to lose their dad and their husband, their father, So today, and like my mentor, Ralph Smart, and this is the beautiful, I just got to take a cut through here, this is where Starlight was out yesterday. What a beautiful little spot that Starlight was out here. It's nice and cleared, be able to, like to enjoy the shade. So that is where Starlight was yesterday. And so today I really want to talk to you about, people that are out there using their voice, and standing up for things that they believe in. And is that wrong? No. You know what? We all have opinions, and it doesn't matter if we agree with what the person is saying. And like I said earlier, I didn't even know this guy, Charlie Kerks, at all, and I was learning a lot today, and it's so sad. I mean, I cried watching my mentor's video, and some of you might not like to see that kind of stuff, and do you think I like to? No, absolutely not. But you know what? God uses those things, for us to kind of wake up to really to see what is going on in the world, and it shakes people up, and it shook me up this morning, and that is why I'm using my voice, because there's a lot of people in history, like I was learning with my my mentor, is that there was other men who lost their lives for standing up for what they believe. And so this video is to really inspire you, this is the time not to be quiet. No, think about those people that lost their lives. This is the time that we really need to raise our voices and speak our minds and hearts out in the world, to really stand up for those people that lost their lives, and so that is what this is about, is to, this is not the time to, like if you were a dog, not that you are a dog, to tuck your tail underneath, between your legs and go the other way. No, this is the time that we need to really stand up and use our voice, for the, of course, for good. And like I said earlier, I didn't even know the guy, I never even heard his name, because Starlight does not watch politics. And so with that being said, does it really matter? Does it really matter if I knew him or not? What matters is that he's a person. What matters is that he is a soul. What matters, it could have been any of us, but it was him. What matters is that he has a family. What matters is that he has a wife. What matters is that he has kids, and he's no longer here. That's what matters. It doesn't matter whether we knew the man or not. It's just that that's another soul that's no longer here, and that person was doing something that he believed in. And should people get shot at for using their voice? And there's other people in history, that they're no longer here. So this is the time that we really need to really stand up and use our voice, and not to run away, and not to fight, but to stand up for what we believe in. And that's why I'm wearing this shirt that says always choose love. And that is what is important. Throughout history, when I was younger, going to school, now I have to say, where I came from as a kid, we only had, when I grew up, I'm mentioning this because this is how there's a big problem in the world, is when I grew up, I lived in such a small little town, you wouldn't even notice it if you weren't even paying attention as you're driving by, because it's that small. And but when I went to school, there was only like one boy of color and one Chinese boy. Everyone else was white, And that has been a big problem in the world, is thinking, that one race is better than another. And that is all a lie. If we just would wake up and understand how we all been lied to from, even our ancestors been lied to. And, to understand that they've been separating and dividing us, throughout history. And even go way, way back. And I was thinking of this morning because this really got me going this morning, hearing about the news on what was going on yesterday, is even Jesus. Look at the crap that Jesus went through. And what was Jesus doing? He was healing people. He was putting the truth out. People didn't like it. They wanted to keep him, keep his mouth shut. They didn't want him to going out and helping people. They wanted to see people ignorant so they can take advantages of them and use them. And, because they understood that a lot of people were, they needed help. And they didn't want Jesus to help them out. And so look at what happened to Jesus, for being there, God's Son. So we really need to think, of what, who are you and what do you believe in? You have a choice. It's love or hate. Those are the two, either you're going to love or you're going to hate. Are you going to listen to what everybody else says and go by what they believe, as far as politics goes? When I was growing up, when I was in school, did I have an education? Not really. But when I was learning about history in school, you know what? It was like, to me, it was a dead end. When I was learning that we were lied to about this land that, people fight over, I seen people this morning riding a bicycle, having an American flag, and another person walking with American flag because of the things that are going on in the world. But you know what? That's what they've been wanting. That's what they wanted this whole time, is to divide us. That's there's a war outside, and that war outside is the war within that we have with each other. We need to really come together instead of listen to what other people, want us to do. It was a while back, last year sometime, I had people, they saw that I had a YouTube channel and they saw my car and they would talk to me. And I've had men and women that actually were voters, and they didn't really care too much about my YouTube channel, but they came to me wondering, hey, Starlight, do you vote? And they were not happy to hear that Starlight didn't vote. Those people, that man and that lady, or a couple, maybe about 3 or 4 people who, that voted, and when they found out that I had a YouTube channel and that I wasn't voting, they were upset. They were forceful. They wanted to force me to go and do something that I didn't believe in. And it never made any sense when I was growing up and learning about voting in school, is that I didn't agree to either side. So, and this is what they've done. They purposely have done that where, do you agree fully 100% to both sides of Democratic or Republican? I didn't. I believed in some of the sides on the one side, and I believed in some of the stuff on the other side, but I didn't believe in all, and that's the whole thing. It's two sides of the same coin. And that's what you got to watch out for, and that's why they've been able to do what they've done throughout history, is to divide us by keeping us separated, so then there is a war. We don't have to have that war out there. We have to be wise and understand, the games that are going on, and this is all, we have to really stand up and really find out what you believe. Forget about what other people believe. Just like those people that wanted me to vote. They wanted to force me to vote for certain people. I've gone to churches, and they're not supposed to do this, but they somewhat do this. Not all of them, but I've been in churches where they really weren't supposed to try to get people to vote for a certain person, because, that would, like, it is kind of strange, but you should do what you want to do. If you want to vote, vote. If you want to vote for this person, vote for that person. But there's people out there. I had a lady that got so angry at me because I wouldn't vote for a female, and I didn't even vote. She really was upset with Starlight. Oh, well, you having a YouTube channel, you ought to be voting for a woman. We've had all these men in the world, and, look at how the world has gone, and that's why we need a woman. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but, I don't believe in voting. But if you want to vote, vote. But don't force that stuff on me. So, that nothing really good comes about forcing, and that is why I don't go to church. People were forcing me and controlling me and taking my free will away. That's a big, huge problem in the world, is people trying to force stuff on us. Don't let people force you to do shit. We have a voice and we have a free will. Use your free will, use your voice while you can. Not everybody's going to agree with what you believe in, but nobody should die for, using their voice out in the world and standing up for what they believe in, whether you like it or not. And that happens all around, with families and friends and even at churches, where you got, people that go to church supposed to be of love and, about God. And I've gone to church before where, the churches were fighting amongst each other. And I'm like, what a great example, for a new church, a baby in the Lord to see, is to see how even people that claim that they're Christians that go to a building that they call a church when we are the church. So you got to really know what you believe in and what you want to stand for. And, just because this horrible thing that happened today or yesterday, about people getting shot for using their voice, this is a test for us to really see, are you going to back down? Maybe you wanted to do something. Are you going to back down and think, oh, that could happen to me? But why don't we instead, for the families, instead of backing down and not standing up, why don't we all rise up and really use our voices and stand up for those people that lost their lives out in the world, because those, that affected so many people in the whole world when those things happened throughout history. And so, and it is a shame, and this is how this works out in this reality, is people get so distracted in this matrix, and that was the whole freaking thing, is to get you so distracted that people don't, they stop caring, they start loving, they start getting so much into that 9-to-5 job and, not really caring to what's going on out in the world and giving up. And that was the plan, is to get you so you don't believe and you don't trust, and you lose interest in things, and you just think, hey, there's no sense in me working on myself because look at the way the world is. But we can be that change that we want to see in the world. We can make a difference by, being out there and not backing away, not backing down, but using our voice in such a good way. And we can work on ourselves by being becoming our greatest versions that we can be, and send love out in the world. Don't, because you don't agree with what somebody else is doing in the world, it don't mean that you gotta, say, you have your opinion and I have mine. That's okay. Like I said in the other video the other day, is, I love bananas. Do you love bananas? No. See, somebody doesn't like bananas. Does it mean that I'm a bad person because you don't like bananas and I do? So we need to stop acting like children out in the world, and, because that's how kids act. Isn't that how kids act when they don't know any better? And then you got to hopefully teach them is that, no, this is not how we're supposed to act. Is like, a kid might accidentally swing his toy and it might accidentally hit a child, in the head or an arm, and the kid cries and it gets upset, and it's like, and it doesn't know why it got hit, but it wants to hit the other kid back. And that's exactly how these people out there are acting, is, hey, I don't like what you said, and you're gonna kill them, So, and the other thing that I want to touch on this topic is, what are we teaching our children? And God actually was working on my heart today, this morning. What are you teaching your children really matters. And this is where a lot of the problems in the world start, is how we're raising up our kids. What kind of information are we saying? What do they hear us say? what kind of words, what are we talking about, and what are your kids picking up, and it really does start at a young age, like little kids that are learning how to talk and forming sentences together. It starts then. They hear stuff, now they're understanding what you're saying. Before, when they didn't speak, and when they didn't form sentences, they heard stuff, but they didn't understand it. But now when they go to school and they start learning about words and learning about the meanings and forming sentences together, and then when they hear mommy and daddy talk, well, what kind of stuff is your kids picking up? And it really does start at a young age, when they're little, forming sentences together. So be mindful of the kind of things that you say out loud in front of your kids, no matter, especially like I said, when they're just learning to form sentences, because they pick up stuff and you might not even be aware of really how much that is impacting in their thought process, and what they think, and the more they hear the same stuff, it's a way of them being programmed to later on to possibly, like, for example, is to hate people because of a certain color, because they heard it from a child, growing up in school, and they heard it throughout their life, of hearing mommy and daddy or even people that they're around talking negative about different races. And we all bleed red. On this journey that I'm on, I've been traveling from Albany, New York, all the way around United States, all the way to Miami, all the way on the west side of California. And I've had to ask God, I did ask God for help, but then I had to ask people for help on this journey. And you know what? The people that helped me on this journey out here traveling and getting gas money or food, you know what? It wasn't just one type of person that came out and helped Starley out. I had all kinds of people from all different races that helped Starley out. So if you have an opinion thinking that one kind of skin color is better than the other, you're wrong. We're all the same. We all bleed red, and there's no difference. If you want to say good and bad, there's good and bad in all. It's not just one race. We need to love each other and come together and not be divided like they've been planning on our whole existence, is to divide us. We're here to come together as a family, and we're here to love each other and accept each other. We don't have to always agree, but we're here to love each other and put our love together, and not to fall for that lie that we've been told our whole life, is to believe that, that someone's better than another. No one's better than anyone. So please put your petty differences aside and really believe that you've been lied to. We all been lied to. We all been programmed. And be mindful of the kind of information that you let your kids hear. If you believe in certain things and you're teaching that to your kids, you might not be teaching them it, but you might be expressing those things outwardly, and you could be definitely programming your child to believe a certain way. And it happens to all of us at times. When you hear it enough, just like when I used to go to church, being programmed at the church, I've been programmed at the church. Wow, even at the school system, And when you hear something over and over again, after a while you start believing this shit. You start believing, hey, you don't even know where it came from. And it's because we've been programmed to believe a lie instead of the truth. You really need to understand what the truth is and stand for that truth. Stand up for those people that lost their lives, starting with Jesus. Jesus, did so much to help people out. He was showing us the truth. He was teaching us how to be, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus just, run away? No. I love Jesus with all my heart and all my soul. So we really do, not just Jesus, but all the people after, and the politicians, that have lost their lives throughout history. We need to stand up for those people, and we need to be a voice to the generations to come. They need us more than ever. So, you could say what you want, and no one, just keep on using your voice and standing up, because that's how we're going to make a difference. If we just hey, I'm not going to stand up, Well, then when the shit hits the fan, you're either a part of the problem or you're part of the solution. What side are you going to be on? Are you going to be that person that's going to use your voice, or are you going to back down and just cave in and believe what everybody else believes? So this video is here to help you to not to back down, but this is a time to stand up, and this is the time to use your voice in a positive manner, to send love out in the world. This is not the time to keep quiet, but to raise up your voice and be a voice out there to the voiceless. Anyway, I love you so much, and we really do. We need to come together. We need to put our petty differences aside. We need to stand up for what is right and not to, back down on what we believe in. And to pray for those people that lost their loved ones out there, and pray for those ones that are no longer here, for the families and the ones that they lost their daddy, and their husband. That could have been any of us, but it was that person. And God lets these things happen because we need to wake up. And it's really sad that we need to have something so horrible to happen to get our attention, because people are so distracted and doing what are you distracted on? And we need to really pay attention. These times are, things are happening quick, and that's why it's so important to pay attention. Don't get distracted on the things that they want you. You got to pull yourself away from those things that are distracting you from really getting to know what the truth is, and be that voice to the voiceless out there. Don't back down now, but to raise your voice and be a voice. I love you so much. This is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you can share, please share this video. This is a time to, get out there and push that button. It doesn't take much. You could be a part of the solution or be a part of the problem. You can know the truth, hear it, and what are you going to do? Are you going to be a part of the, the solution, or be a part of the problem by not doing anything? Because if you're not doing anything, you're a part of the problem, not a part of the solution. I love you all. We really need to really be serious of what we're doing and think about what kind of lifestyle are you living? What kind of information are you giving your kids? Is it the truth, or is it your opinion? So teach them that. Say, hey, this is my opinion. Then that's your opinion, but it doesn't need to be the child's opinion to what you believe. Let them have a mind of their own. Teach your children, just because I believe in this, it doesn't mean that you got to believe in the same thing. Let them know that. Let them know that they have a choice to make on their own, and that we can't force anything on other people, but we can, like I am doing, is you can be a voice to the voiceless, and you can help people out and teach them things, not to force it on them. I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.